It's tea time with the diva, everybody. Grab your tea, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. This tea time is dedicated to the producers of the Wendy Williams documentary, Where's Wendy Williams? And why? Because they are so full of it. It's the lies, the lies, the lies. They want to come out now only because everybody is outraged that we saw with our own eyes the decline of Wendy Williams because they decided to document it on film. So since everybody is outraged, they want to come out and say, when we started filming Wendy Williams back in August of 2022, we have no idea that something was wrong with her. We had no idea that she had dementia. We had no idea that Wendy Williams was in a crisis. Excuse me? You had no idea? Y'all were filming when she was in the car asking the driver to pass by the Wendy Williams show, which was no longer the Wendy Williams show, it was the Sherry Shepherd show. She kept asking him to go around and around and around. We witnessed about 17 times. And y'all not even filmed it. Y'all decide when y'all went to edit, y'all was going to show it to us. So she went around and around and around, not knowing where she was at. Then we witnessed her sending the publicist in the smoke shop about 3 to 4 times. Y'all didn't know anything was wrong? Y'all didn't know anything was wrong when y'all do a confessional with her son and her son said she was diagnosed with cognitive issues. Y'all didn't know anything was wrong? Y'all didn't know anything was wrong when every time you came to her house, she wasn't speaking right, talking right, thinking right, and y'all saw bottles of alcohol everywhere. Y'all didn't know anything was wrong. Y'all knew she had a guardian. Usually, everyday, regular people where nothing is wrong don't have a guardian. Y'all didn't know anything was wrong? Even past all of that, at best, you should have known she was an alcoholic. Y'all didn't know anything was wrong? Y'all stayed until she got help? You filmed disastrous moments. God only knows what y'all didn't show us, because what y'all did show us was an epic fail. It was a train wreck. Listen, guys, we're going to get more into this story right after this. All right, guys, let me go ahead and share screen. So where's Wendy Williams? Producers say they continue filming Star amid her struggles out of concern. It's the lies. It's the lies for me. Out of concern. No, you call 911 out of concern. You take her to the emergency room out of concern. You don't just keep filming out of concern. We often thought, what would have happened if we weren't there? Executive producer Erica Hansen tells people about the filming of the Where is Wendy Williams documentary. It's the lies. When Wendy Williams' primary progressive aphasia and frontotemporal dementia diagnosis was released by her care team on February 22nd, the team behind the staring new Lifetime documentary, Where is Wendy Williams, found out about it the same time as the public. How is that so when they filmed her son in a confessional saying that his mother had the issue and said it was alcohol related? How was they so shocked when it came out? They need to stop. We were shocked, of course, and saddened, but I think looking back, we can all see that there were signs along the way. Executive producer Mark Ford tells People in a new interview, we were asking along the way about a lot of these signs, but it's just devastating and heartbreaking. Executive producer and showrunner Erica Hansen says she felt the same way. I was surprised, and it was really very sad for me, she says. It did make me think a lot looking back over those weeks that we were with Wendy. It made you think. A producer stopped the car for that scene where they was kept going around the block, the same block, about 100 million times, and said, "We're done." You knew at that point something wasn't right. If you were so concerned, we were like, you know what? Let's take Wendy to a doctor. Let's film a scene taking her to the doctor or the hospital to figure out why she's not remembering and telling somebody to drive around the block 100 times and go to the same smoke shop. In the documentary, Williams' 23-year-old son Kevin Hunter, who she shares with ex Kevin Hunter, says his mom was given a diagnosis of alcohol-induced dementia. Did you hear what I just said? They said in the documentary, but now the producers are saying they was clueless. But in the documentary, her son said, "My mother was given the diagnosis of alcohol-induced dementia by doctors she was seeing while staying with the family in Florida during her hiatus from her Wendy Williams show." How did y'all not know? Williams' care team released the news about Williams' diagnosis 2 days before the premiere of Where is Wendy Williams on February 24th, according to the statement. According to their statement, Williams, who was appointed a legal guardian named Sabrina in 2022 to oversee her finances and health decisions, received her diagnosis last year, and her care team said the conditions have already presented significant hurdles in Wendy's life. Hansen tells People, had they been told Wendy's care team about her diagnosis earlier, the news absolutely would have affected how the documentary played out. You filmed the son saying it in the documentary. Y'all didn't change anything. So stop the lies. We had no idea she had dementia when we started filming in August of 2022, or we wouldn't have filmed, she explains. I think the documentary really illustrates our journey of trying to understand what was happening. It sheds light on that period of time in Wendy's life where she was under the care of a guardianship and living a very isolated life in New York in that apartment. We all really did have concerns for her, she continues. We often thought, what would have happened if we weren't there? It is interesting to see the reaction from fans and viewers since the documentary aired, and especially understanding why we stayed. A lot of it was out of concern. You wasn't concerned for Wendy because when they came there for another scene and she was supposed to do something, they asked Will Selby to go wake her up, get her up, tell her to get out the bed and get dressed because they had things to do. That's not concern. The only concern was y'all just needed to finish continuing to film your project so y'all can make the money. If you came there, she was in the bed and she was out of it, you would have called Will and said, you know, we got to get her to the hospital. No, Will came in there and told her to get up and get dressed because they got to go, and that he was going to give her another half hour to sleep to pull herself together. And she said she wanted to stay in the bed all day. But they made her get up and she could barely get up. We never spoke to the guardian. Shame on y'all. I tried reaching out numerous times, but in the end, the guardian did put her in a place where she apparently is getting the right care, Hansen claims. Yeah, the guardian did it after y'all came and said her eyes was rolled to the back of her head. She was half gone. We really were concerned, and we were often talk about that with Will. In the end, she did end up in a place where she's safe and seemed to be getting the right care. She only ended up there because when y'all came under y'all watch, she almost was out of here. As for by the end of the documentary, the priority really became about Wendy's safety and her care. We left when we knew she was in a safer place getting the care that she needed. That's a lie. Because y'all still filmed the empty apartment. Y'all kept filming confessionals with Will Selby. Y'all didn't leave. Y'all probably was waiting to see was she going to come out of that facility so y'all could film her some more. An issue that Wendy's family has with her current care is that they have limited access to her. While they say she can call them from a blocked number, they cannot reach out to her directly. The family is really happy that she's getting that care. They just wish they could know a little bit more, Ford says. I can say that the family had no idea about the specific diagnosis and no one shared it with them prior to the statement going out. How, when he says it in the documentary and she was told in 2019 and y'all was filming in 2022? I think they would have just had a little more transparency and a little bit of a say in how their mother sister aunt is being treated. Ford also knows that he didn't recognize any of the people involved in the press release that went out about Wendy's diagnosis. Sabrina has not responded to multiple requests from People magazine for a comment because she's a fraud. She's running scared right now. She's building up her legal team. In the days since the documentary aired, Wendy's fam has accused Selby of taking advantage of her. But Ford believes Selby, who is listed as an executive producer, has her best interests at heart. Selby has not commented on the documentary. Well, he's not. And Ford, you full of it. If Selby had his Wendy Williams' best interests at heart, that documentary would have never happened. Or even if it was started, at some point he would have been like, you know what? We can't do this. You could disagree or agree with some of his decisions, as well as those of her publicist, Sean, but I don't think anything was being done maliciously, Ford says. I also think that they were on their own journey of discovery with Wendy and not quite understanding the level of her cognitive issues. Also, those issues worsened dramatically over the period of time that we were with her. Will is not a therapist. He's not an addiction counselor, Ford continues. There was a guardianship in place the entire time we were filming with Wendy. That was court appointed to be overseeing her finances and her medical care. So I think the larger question here is about what can happen to someone under legal guardianship if the family is separated from them and there isn't somebody there on a daily basis checking in on their well-being. So now they want to throw everything on a guardianship, but yet under their watch, they was happy to film without the guardianship in sight. Hanson echoes Ford's sentiments about Shelby. I don't think Will would ever have done anything to jeopardize Wendy's health or safety. Oh, but he did. Like the people featured in the documentary, Ford and Hanson also went on their own journeys with Williams as the film quickly departed from the comeback story that originally set out to make due to Wendy's various health struggles and alcohol addiction. As Wendy's health worsened, our priorities shifted to getting her into a safer place and getting her back in touch with family who she had been cut off from, Ford says. Then after that, it was about, okay, let's tell the truth here. What is really going on Wendy's life, in Wendy's life. Wendy said from the beginning, there are no boundaries. You can ask me anything. We could go anywhere you want to go with this. This was the truth of her life. The truth was no longer that she was going to resurrect her career in her podcast. The truth was she needed to get safe and she needed to get back in touch with her family. These issues needed to be raised and addressed, and people needed to be aware of the suffering that she and her family were going through. They're so full of it. They're saying that because all of the fans have been saying, thank God the documentary did happen to expose everybody. So now they're trying to connect to the fans' thought process and say that was their thought process all along. It's the lies. Of course, it was challenging, emotional, complex, heart-wrenching film to make, as well as it to watch, she continues. But we hope that it is serving Wendy's well-being, her family well-being, and serving a larger purpose in society, which is to call attention to these guardianships and also just the complexities of taking care of someone with these cognitive deficiencies and how challenging it can be for everyone around. They only threw in at the 11th hour, and it was this big. You blinked your eyes, you would have missed it. They had somebody coming in and talk about guardianship and that whole complexity of that. But it happened like that. Like I said, if you would have got up to go get a snack or blink your eyes, you would have missed it. Hanson makes clear that every step of the way in the field, the documentary crew talked to Wendy's about what we were doing. She had opinions about it. If she wanted to do it, not do it, she says she was very involved. And even now, looking back in retrospect, understanding the issue she was dealing with, she was very engaged the majority of the time. Sometimes there was challenges, but I would say overall, she was very engaged in what we were doing and liked having company in the apartment. Well, she was lonely. She needed friends and family, not the company of a camera crew and all these people that didn't give a darn about her. Asked for it every day. She welcomed the film crew. She wanted the film crew there. She wanted company. That doesn't mean we didn't take the responsibility very seriously, but we enjoyed as much as she could and grew very close with the crew members that were there. And those crew members were very close to her and still cared very deeply about her and always well. Oh yeah, she had no food in the refrigerator. She was thin as a rail. The apartment was in ruins in terms of stuff was just everywhere. The cats, they said, was peeing everywhere. They cared? They didn't care. They wanted a project. Hansen says it was a very small team in the film on a daily basis. It was very intimate team. And Wendy established a relationship with each of us that was, I think, very meaningful to her, she says. I think all of us were deeply impacted by it. Some of us had family members or friends who struggled with addiction or mental health illness, and it became truly a labor of love for each of us to tell Wendy's story sensitively and compassionately and honestly. There was no sensitivity in it. Will was cursing her out at some points. Y'all just didn't show it all to us. And when he had to go in that apartment and he said no cameras, he went in that apartment and told Wendy off in a nice, not so nice way, because he wanted the film to continue because he was the executive producer. Ahead of the documentary's premiere, Hansen says she screened it with Williams' family. It was so important to me that they watched it all and felt supportive and felt good about it. It was an honest portrayal, she says. This means everything because we as filmmakers have a tremendous moral responsibility in telling someone's story and take that so seriously since we don't have contact with Wendy. And I don't know if she's seen it or what her thoughts are. That her family supported it and really liked it and felt it was accurate meant everything to me. Well, they had a game plan at that point to expose all of y'all. As she looks to the future, Hansen has hope for the next chapter of Wendy's story. My hope is that she can live the best life she can live in a healthy environment and get the help, treatment that she needs, she says. I'm optimistic for her. Wendy is beloved and will continue to be beloved, fan adds. She's a force and will continue to be a force. We just hope she's happy and in a safe place and can be with her family. If y'all knew this, y'all would have ended that documentary with an addendum and said, listen, at the timing of this filming, we had no idea what Wendy Williams was truly going through. As time went on and we continued to film, we realized that something was extremely wrong with Wendy Williams. We called doctors, we called nurses, we called a medical team to come and evaluate Wendy Williams. We showed this documentary to her family prior to us putting it out. And the family was in agreement to put it out because they wanted some people exposed and they wanted change in the guardianship laws and regulations in New York City. But y'all didn't say that because you're full of crap and you're telling lies and y'all knew Wendy Williams was sick. And it doesn't take a doctor, a nurse, a psychiatrist, or anyone to look at a person and say something is not right here. Shame on y'all for even coming out and saying we had no clue when there were 1,001 clues as you was filming. And then the biggest clue was when her son sat in the confessional chair and told y'all his mother had alcohol-related induced dementia. Listen, guys, chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. If you are a subscriber, welcome back. Everybody, thanks for watching. Don't forget, hit the like button. It's the lies for me. It's the lies, the lies, the lies. Let me know your thoughts, and I will chat back with you. I'll see you in the next video.